Tucked away back in the hills of White County is a family farm that has been around for over a century tending cattle and crops, but it's just recently turned into something new. This beautiful farm has now become the home of Northfield Vineyards, a winery and event venue specializing in wine made from fresh Tennessee grapes grown right on the farm.
My dad bought this when I was a little kid, and he bought it off the family. This was actually my great-grandfather's farm, and it's part of my great-great-grandfather's farm. I don't know, everything keeps getting busted up from generation to generation, keeps getting smaller and smaller, and it's really not enough land left to do a big farming operation, so we sort of decided we would diversify. And like I say, this just sort of this is something we planned on, but it just kind of fell in our laps. And 30 acres is plenty to do grapes and do a little winery, you know. So when it comes to diversification, it just kind of happened. I bought a farm a few years ago, several years ago, that had some muscadine vines. And me and Vicki decided we would try to make some muscadine wine.
My grandmother loved muscadines, and Mark tried to make some muscadine juice for her and some muscadine wine when she was no longer to eat muscadines. And it was terrible. It tasted horrible. And then he started to get better and better and better at winemaking, and he started making some really good stuff. And we decided that we might just do a family venture and make the barn and the garage into a winery and make some wine and sell it. And it started from there, and it's taken us, it took about 2 to 3 years to get everything done. So everybody here, my dad even, takes care of a lot of the mowing. My mom helps out here as well. It's definitely a family venture where everybody is involved with their day-to-day operations. Of course, my big brother Mark, he's the winemaker.
Come on into my fermentation room and I'll show you kind of what we do down here. I've got 3 600-gallon tanks, and we've got to keep one of them empty at all times. And the reason for that is whenever your yeast is eating sugars, it leaves leftovers, and that's just basically what you call them. So whenever you get done, you pull the good wine off and put it into the other tank, and then I clean out the leftovers and throw them away. So so you've always got to keep one tank empty. If you had 20 tanks in here, you'd still have to have one. So it's pretty simple, actually. You're just letting the yeast do the work. Right now I have got blackberry in one and cranberry in the other. They are finished fermenting, and I'm just holding them right now. We put the juice in, we get everything right, so the pH is right, and we add our yeast and let the yeast do the work. Usually 4 to 6 weeks, and I get a finished product of a wine. This is my chiller over here. I can get my wines down to 28 degrees and hold them there as long as I want to. I've got my pump. My wine, this is my bottle filler and my filter system. So I've just got a little of everything in here. It's everything I need to do small batch wine.
Here at Northfield Vineyards, we have several events through the year, and the first weekend of May every year we do what's called a Mother's Day market, and we do it again the first weekend of October. It's just a fall market where we have around 50 to 60 vendors. It's somewhat like a barn sale. We do weddings here. We have access to a horse and carriage for the weddings. We're going to do an event on site here for the solar eclipse in August. We do a few music events. Our company store here is a Pick Tennessee store, and almost everything in here is a Pick Tennessee product. It's either made in Tennessee, right in our general area, or somewhere in the state. We have canned goods. Of course, we have our wine that's made right here.
I do a dry Chardonnay that's unoaked. We call it parched and pale. We've got a dry red Chamberson that we call Reuben's Red. After that, we get into some sugar. I do a cranberry and I do a blackberry blend. Got a pure muscadine that I won a silver at Wines of the South this year. I was pretty happy with that. That's the only one that we've ever entered into a competition. And then I've got a rhubarb, And we do it in conjunction with Friends of White County Animals, and they get $1 of every bottle that's sold. And I've got one that I call Granny's Concord Grape, and it goes down just about like Welch's grape juice. Everybody's pretty well happy with it around here.
And then as far as the actual decorating in here, it's, you know, very rustic. Probably about 90% of the antiques and the things that are hanging on the wall were either my Grandpa Massa's or my Grandpa Ray's. So even with everything that's hanging on the walls, there's a lot of history just in the decorations here inside the winery. From a little girl growing up here and riding horses and working in hay and stripping tobacco and, you know, getting on the school bus here and being so close to my grandparents, and it was just the best place ever. As a grown-up, it's still one of my favorite places to be, because now it's a neat place for everybody to come and hang out and have a good time. You know, it's reality now, so it's pretty awesome.